everybody, welcome to the Sharon and Joe Show. My name is Sharon.
Hey guys, my name is Joe.
So Joe and I are coming at you, and if you remember, if you listened to us on Monday or on Wednesday, we had how many kids at the house, Joe?
8 kids and a whole bunch of animals, and the house was packed.
And Joe is still alive.
Alive and kicking.
Yeah, It actually was a great week. So for those of you that don't know, Joe and I have 4 kids together. 3 of them live at the house with us. So we have 3 teens at the house. But this week we had 8 teenagers at the house because my 2 had some of their friends come out from New Hampshire. And guys, it was a fantastic week. I was on Sunday we made the video last weekend. So Monday's video, I was bouncing off the walls. I was so excited. Like, I was so happy. And you know what the thing is? I miss these kids too. I was excited to see them as well. My daughter's best friend came out, and I used to work with her, so I love her too. And then my son had 4 friends come out, and he didn't know. And I was so happy to see these kids. It was just like, Joe is my best friend. My best female friend is one of these kids' mother. So it was awesome. It was so good.
I was excited for them too. It was really cool. If you guys hear any chickens in the background, you remember we do our videos in the garage, but we're actually outside a little bit, so you might hear a car pass or something like that.
Yeah, we're right outside the garage.
That's nice. It's fresh air and stuff.
It's good. Yeah, it's a little muggy, so we compromised.
Yeah, as long as it's not raining yet, so we're good.
Because we have like a dehumidifier on, but I feel like it's too loud for the video. But then poor Joey's like pouring sweat, so
not that bad.
No, you're not that bad. But it was a great week. It was awesome. We were both sad to see the kids go, so that is a really, really good sign considering we had 8 kids, the animals, and all this stuff. But to get into today's video, there was one moment during the week that we're thinking about it, and we thought we could talk about it a little bit in today's video. And I'll just say up front, it's anxiety. Joe deals with, we've mentioned before, he has CPTSD. And for those of you that don't know, CPTSD is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So whereas post-traumatic stress disorder is related usually to one event, like I get in a car accident now, I have an issue getting in a car. CPTSD is multiple events. So, and that's what Joe is dealing with. He's dealing with multiple traumas, but one of the CPTSD symptoms is anxiety. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what happened this week, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about your anxiety in general and how it is now?
It's definitely, it's not peaches and cream every day, but it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be, that's for sure. So, the crappy part, you guys, is you don't always know what's going to trigger. If you have it or if you have anxiety. I'm naturally high-strung. It's just my nature, with like a hint of anxiety this here and there, that could be managed.
Like your baseline?
Yeah.
Okay.
My baseline, I think, is high-strung. The anxiety is just like the dash of salt that you put on your food or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's there depending on how I take in information and how I respond to life. Mm-hmm. So if you guys listened to last week's video, I had cut my fingers really badly on a pair of hedgers while I was landscaping. I do landscaping for a second job, and I should have gotten stitches, but Sharon, thank God, was able to bandage and stick me up. Stitch me, well, not stitch me up, but like,
you up, but I could have. I did
she,
offer.
She's a veterinarian. I'm like her. I guess I'm a Joey. I'd be a kangaroo.
Yeah, you're my Joey. I got lots of supplies. I told him I could stitch him up, but I didn't have any pain medication to dull the pain.
Yeah. So, thank God I was okay. So, like, the prelude is on Sunday, the day before the kids were coming up so there's going to be a whole bunch of kids in the house. I got a call to give me a heads up that our agency where I work might shut down. And it's just, hey, heads up, dust off your resume. And it's not for sure, but it was just a crappy thing to hear.
Oh, yeah.
The last thing I want is a bunch of kids in the house and this and that. So what's going on there? And, that night I was a little bit stressed out and worried.
So your baseline is kind of amping up a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But amping up a little bit of fear. Yeah. And, then I think it was Wednesday evening or Thursday. So I wanted to help Sharon because I'm like the grill master, of course. And I wanted to prep food and help her with stuff. I was making
some burgers.
Yeah. So I got some, like, spice and food, like, on my hand where it was bandaged up, and I was just like, oh crap, like, why am I doing this? This is so stupid. I could have asked Sharon to do it, but I wanted to be a part of it, and already it's like, if I get my fingers infected, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not going to be able to landscape. Then I'm thinking about well, the hell with that. You got to worry about getting a job, you know. And I took 3 days of vacation this week just so I could use them up, because you don't get paid for it, you know, if you get laid off. Those 3 days I was working, like at my landscaping job. So I just silently, it just began to amp up, I guess. And anxiety was there, and it was driven by fear. And before you know it, I was kind of like, in my mind, mentally paralyzed.
Like, do you think, like, so for me, Joe finished up work, he works from home, I was prepping dinner, and
I offered. I was like, hey, I'm gonna help.
You were like, oh, let me do this. I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking, like, everything's cool. I could see you through the kitchen window, and you didn't look right. Like, there was, I don't know, like, I could feel it on you. And so I didn't do anything at first. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna, like, do my thing. And then finally I was like, oh, I gotta go find out what's wrong. And I was a little nervous because, you know, I didn't know. Like, sometimes if Joe gets really, really in a bad place, like, it's not, I don't want to say intimidating. You're not the same Joe, I guess is what it is. So I go out and I'm like, oh, hey, honey, what's going on? And he was really quick with me. And I, like, that was, so tell me, like, from your point, like, because you were like, 5 minutes before, when you were taking over the burgers for me, you were good.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
then
hey, you know.
all this. So for me, and maybe this happens to some of you, if you love somebody who has anxiety or CPTSD, maybe that's something that
I don't know. Yeah, I hope. Like, the hell, I don't want to be like one of those people that are crazy and they don't know they're crazy. Like, I have some split personality disorder.
No, you
crazy.
don't. Like, I think the thing for me is, it goes from one extreme, like, you're great, like, fine, and then all of a sudden it doesn't appear that anything's changed, and then all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, what's wrong?
If you could open me up, like, so here's what's going on. Like, my blood pressure, I could feel, like, I don't know how blood pressure works, but I could feel, and I could feel my heart racing, and I could, like, I feel guilty because I should be having a third job, and it's like, what am I going to go do tomorrow? And so I immediately, like, put the walls up, and it's like I put my hand out. It's just like, don't come near me, because I've always been afraid that, like, I always tried to be mindful. Like, if I was in a bad mood, if the kids did something wrong, I needed to step back and let those emotions and my anger go through.
You're like
so that I could, like, respond to it with love. When I'm angry, like, some people I don't want around, especially the ones, you know how you hurt the ones you love the most? Yeah. So, like, I don't want people around, so I could, like, if they drop something or do something goofy, like, I snap at them. So it's like, please stay away right now, but it's not so nice. Like, you see the demeanor on my face. It's not like, it's just pain, and it's like the anxiety is building up, and I'm no stranger to panic attacks, but it feels like a prolonged prelude to a panic attack. Like, you know, like, I could tell when I'm getting a panic attack. Some nights I would wake up in the middle of the night and I couldn't breathe. And those were the nights when those were the scariest. But yeah, it just, man, Sharon, and it takes a couple days. So that triggered me. And then the next day, Sharon and I went for a walk. For whatever reason, because I don't talk about this much at all anymore, I'm talking about all the things that happen with the narcissist, which Sharon knows of. And I don't know, maybe it was meant to be, honey, that I talked about it.
So, like, see, Joe got upset afterwards because we had a long talk. From my perspective, I thought, wow, this is a great talk. And I felt, you know, sometimes, like, Joe and I talk about our relationship with God as like a little triangle. So Joe and I are at the base and God's at the top. And sometimes, particularly if we go to the park, I feel God so strongly with us. And I felt that way on our walk. Like, I felt that because, yeah, I knew a lot of these things, not everything, but most of the things that you told me, I had already known. But hearing them in that way, I felt like I was supposed to hear them because something changed in me. I felt like you would tell me these things that happened to you before, you know, like as if it was a long time ago, you know. So I was thinking, all right, like, that was you. I knew it was you, but it was a while ago. It was in the past. It's not like this current thing. It hit me that night, like, while we were walking. I think I know I told you. I don't know if I told you during the walk or not, but I was thinking that I felt this deep sorrow and this deep empathy for you. And I remember thinking to myself, geez, I don't want to make him, like, I don't want to, like, make him feel bad by telling him I feel bad for him or insult him in some way, even though I didn't feel like I was insulting you, but I was cautious of that. But I felt like, oh my gosh, like this happened to you, my Joey. You know, like I felt that way. Like, and it wasn't like this happened to you like long time ago. Some of the things you were telling me happened very recently, and it hit me strong.
I don't talk about them much because there's so many people out there that have it so much worse. And I think it's how I take in things and how I perceive them, you know. It's just, I knew at the end of the walk, I was like, I don't know why the hell I told you all that, but I don't think I should have said anything. And that night, man, like the anxiety was so bad that like I'd wake up, like I go to this place, it's just so lonely and dark, man. And then I feel guilty because I'm like, I'm such a coward, and where's my faith? And like, it's just a bad place, man, to be.
I've seen you go there a couple of times, and I feel like sometimes, you know, because we talk about a triangle, and Joe and I reference a triangle as like literally the most important thing in our life, because when we're like tight in the triangle, like life is good. And I felt like there's been a couple of times where I felt you, like you'll tell me something, and I feel like God is involved in this. Like when you showed me where you grew up, like, and the same thing happened to you. Like it's like when you revisit these painful times, it affects you for a couple of days, but at the same time, I feel closer to you. So
it's weird.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like probably when I went no contact with the narcissist, there was a lot of things that happened that triggered a lot of trauma from my childhood, this and that. Over the wintertime, the hypervigilance, I catch myself sighing like, but it was like to catch my breath because I didn't know it was
you
like
were at war.
One more wrong thing, a flat tire, like another bill, and it was gonna break me. It was horrible. It was like the time a couple months after the ex left, she stole the car, you know, and I had these two kids here, and it was just, it's gotten a hell of a lot better, man. It has.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah.
But then let's talk about, because I'm sure that there are people listening right now that get exactly what you're saying, and maybe it would be good to hear that like you do have like still these episodes, but you're not through it yet, you know. But it's better. I don't want to say something that isn't true.
It gets better for sure. You know, if I had the money and the time, and you know. Maybe they find some magical pill out there for me. I don't know, but it's definitely. I always tell you, like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Man, as long as I don't go back to where I was."
Yeah.
Because.
When he said where he was, he meant like over the winter. He was in a bad place. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was really bad. It's definitely gotten better. See, the thing about it now is like I'm an expert at like. So what happens? I'm an expert at feeling it. Like it's. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Well, if I, like, so we've referenced before, and I'm not sure if we said this earlier in the video, maybe we didn't, I can't stand emotional pain. Like, if I'm in emotional pain, it is unacceptable on any level. Like, the most minor bit of emotional pain, and I will come running to you. So that, for me, when I feel it, I feel, oh no, like, this can't be here. Do you feel, oh, okay, there you are.
Yeah, what I'm like is, okay, sometimes I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, okay, Joe, just give time. Like I don't consciously have the power to remove it. There's some tools that I can use, like if I step up in my recovery program, like I'm for guys who don't know, I'm a recovered alcoholic and addict. If I start like going to more meetings, 12-step meetings, if I get my ass back in the Bible.
Does that help you if you go to 12-step meetings? Does that help you consistently or for that day?
It both, but okay. More like it's more of a consistent
so
when I start
like
to
your
go.
Lifestyle when you're going all the time.
Yeah, but even when I get out and get amongst people, my kind of people that are crazy like me, that like have been through a hell of a lot of stuff and never used alcohol as an excuse. They've taken responsibility, made their amends, and they're different people. Like when I hear their stories, it's just like I come out and I'm like, man, I thought I had problems. I don't have problems, man, you know?
Yeah.
And when I try to help other people, you know, when I get back into the Bible, but the place where I'm at with that anxiety, it's like I call it the desert, but it's not. It's like it's so isolated, but it's dark, not sunny, 105 degrees. It's like
so when you're there, like I want you to talk a little bit about what you know helps you or how it's gotten better. But I also want to ask you, so when you're in this place like the desert, like from my perspective, it seems like you like settle in, like you like pull
kind
up a
of
chair
weird.
and like,
Yeah, I'm just like
yeah, right. Because I remember one time I don't even remember what I was upset about. I was very upset, and I came to you and I said, Joe, I'm not feeling good. I'm really not. I'm depressed or whatever I said to you. And I wanted you to have, I wasn't even thinking you wouldn't have this reaction. I expected you to say, oh my gosh, like, this is an emergency. Let's get you better right away, you know? And instead you said, well, I guess you're going to be depressed today. And I was like, what?
Well,
how could you even say that? But like now, like I know, like that's what you do for yourself.
well, it's like there's no magic pill, man. It's like what I got to try to do is like, okay, how the hell did I get here? And what can I do to get myself out of it? If I do a little bit and do my part, like God will do the rest, you know. And it happens a hell of a lot less frequent. Like if I wouldn't have gotten out of where I was before, like I was suicidal. The only thing that kept me alive, other than God, was motivation because I have my kids and I got to take care of myself for them.
Yeah.
But I was tired, man. Like I remember telling my friends so many times, like I'm tired, man. I'm just tired. Like I've lived
When you're
life and
saying that, are
experienced
you
that.
talking about like when was this?
This has been like a couple years ago.
Okay.
Like even over like a couple months after the narcissist, we kicked her out of the house. Like when I would come off of my anxiety, I would be so exhausted.
Yeah.
Like I can work 15 or 16 hours a day, like physical labor, go to the gym, but when I got out of that mental anguish,
So when
I
you
was
say
exhausted.
that though, like mental anguish, are you saying it's almost like I'm picturing like an EKG, like up down, up down, up down. So are you like
Up,
like,
and I stay
and
up.
Then you go back down and it's over.
Yeah.
And then but something, so you'll have.
But I
like,
have no energy left.
Yeah.
Because it took every bit of energy to get through it. Like just to get through it. Like if it's weird. I don't know. Some people maybe they understand.
Well, let me ask you a question. So you had these bad times. So what about now? Like how
my
is
God.
it now? And what do you do differently?
Well, you know, staying closer to God, like my faith has to be an actual reality. I actually have to live it. I stay in the Bible. For whatever reason, it's like that's part of my medication.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many times when I'm in that desert that I start questioning God and my faith. But when I read that word, like it's so entrenched in my soul. I don't know. You might say I'm brainwashed. I don't care.
No,
like
I
it's
get
just
what you're
my
saying
it's
because
like
you feel like that's. It's almost like I said.
it does something to me where
Yeah.
it's like a blanket coming over my shoulders at nighttime when I sleep. It's like it's something, man, that does something to me. Like it's a God of my understanding. I don't care if people don't believe. Like it's
Well, how
one
do
of the
you
only things
get,
that works
so
for me.
if you know that, all right, this when I'm with God, when I'm with Him, like I feel good. Like I'm at a good place. How do you not stay there?
I think I'm a quick forgetter.
Yeah.
I'm ungrateful in a lot of ways, and like when life happens, it's happening so fast. Like, oh my God, I got to get a job. Okay, what about my fingers? Okay, this one needs this. I got to be there, and it's like when it loses its priority, when my faith loses its priority, and I start trying to take on all these responsibilities and burden them on my own shoulder instead of like putting that burden to God.
So God's with you, but you're kind of like, all right,
I'm taking
not
it
now,
on.
God. I'm busy.
I'll be right with you here because you're
Yeah.
not gonna redo my resume. I got to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by the time I see it, like I'm so far away. Like change for me has been very, very slow. Like I've had spiritual experiences, but true change for me, like I shouldn't be alive. You know?
Yeah.
So staying consistent with my recovery, staying close to God and making that a reality is pretty much what could keep me on a good basis. Now, the divorce is almost over. Not having to pay an attorney every month, thousands of dollars. Not have to worry about getting more stuff stolen from me. Having custody of my youngest son. My oldest one's not living here, but I have a good rapport with him, and I know I love him. And not having, that's huge. Like, that's, okay, now, like, you're trying to find a ground where you can work from and grow.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 years, it's like one step forward, then 2 steps back. Is something else is happening.
So what do you think got you? All right, let me ask you this. Where do you think you are now in general, like on an emotional level?
I'm in an okay place. And for me, people are like, yeah, I want to be happy. I want to. Screw that, man. You know what I want? Because when there's happy and joy, there's like sadness and sorrow, like the exact opposite. I just want.
Are you afraid, like, if you're too happy, you're going to feel
bad
eventually?
I think that, like, emotions offset. I think, like, serenity is not like too much of an emotion, or true joy. I think you could be joyful, but not like haha happy. To me, I just want to be okay, man. I think okay is like underrated.
Between you and I like to feel the extremes of joy.
I can't.
I know.
Because immediately, like, what I'm going at is something is going to, and that could be like from CPTSD. I don't know.
Well, it's funny, like, talking to you like this, because I feel very, very differently. So let us know. What do you guys feel? I like to feel joy and happiness, and I can tell you I feel it every day.
Yeah, that's far and few. The one thing that I can feel is being okay. Like, that is so underrated. Like, you don't get it.
I've seen you in true joy.
Well, I can be and have, like, that's good.
But you're like, the way that you are like that, I'd feel like you'd want to be that way. Are you, like, afraid of that?
No. I think that being okay is absolutely 100% underrated by most people.
Okay.
I think being okay with myself, being comfortable in my own skin.
Do you think, though, that's because of the anxiety that you've had, where you feel so bad that okay seems better than okay, really,
Okay is realistic enough for me to have on a consistent basis.
Okay.
I'd rather feel okay all the time than laughing for joy, and then the next thing something tragic happens, and it's just like.
Do you think it's not possible to have? See, I know it's possible to have joy as a consistent. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't ever want to, like, be closed-minded.
Yeah.
On anything at all, and I'm conscious enough to say, yeah, when I think of, like, extreme happiness and extreme laughter, like, something has to happen to offset that. So I'm not big into the emotional game. I think emotions are just, I thought emotionally for a long time. It got me in a hell of a lot of trouble. I'm not like Spock from Star Trek, but being okay just sounds like a really good deal. And
That's sad to me.
Well, like, it could be. I don't know if you guys have any suggestions, but I would think, like, being okay for, like, a few days in a row, or like a week in a row, is cool.
I understand where you're coming from. Like, I get that. So it's not that I don't understand that at all. What I don't understand, and maybe it's just like a difference between our personalities.
It is. You're, like, really positive, and I like that about you. There's some people, like, that are fake positive. Like, they smile, like, every day is great. And it's just like, get the hell out of here, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's not true, but some people are just fake like that. I'd rather be like, keep it real, man. Like, this is, like, what's really going on? You know what I mean?
See, but I think sometimes, like, for me,
you're positive, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel it. I feel every day. I can tell you this every single day, multiple times a day. I thank God that I'm free. I am grateful.
I probably need
grateful that I'm free.
Yeah, I probably need medication or something, man. I mean, I do things to offset that. I used to go to the gym a lot and do things, but, like, I think I abused alcohol and drugs to self-medicate.
Yeah, probably.
To get me to a point to play. Maybe that's why I have a negative feeling about, not negative, but when I think of joy and extreme happiness, like, I'm like, yeah, but it comes with the price. You know what I mean? Maybe that's it. I know that I can experience.
I'm like shaking my head. No, I don't know what you mean, because I don't think I understand what you're saying. That joy, you can't feel it nonstop every day, no matter what. But I don't believe that a feeling of joy is going to be offset. I think.
Yeah, I don't know that. Like, that's my fear. I'm conscious enough to realize that, and I'm also conscious enough to say that might not be true.
Yeah.
I do know that for a dude like me, a sense of serenity and being okay and well-being, that sounds safe to me.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that is sad.
It is sad to me.
And I'm sorry
that
that is, but I guess it's like is based on
what's happened to you.
Yeah, you know, and I'm like, trust me, like I'd be exhilarated and joyful and full of joy if I could be okay consistently. But it's getting there, like it's adding days up again, and I'm getting to that point. And there was a time before I met the narcissist, man, that I was like that. Yeah. You know what's really frustrating is when you hear people say, yeah, after the narcissist, I'm a better version of myself. Like, for me, guys, I'm still trying to get back to where I was before I met her, let alone be a better version. But if I didn't think it was possible, if I didn't think like that I could experience joy, I'm not saying I can't experience it, but if I didn't think it was possible, like I wouldn't try, you know? And I made that commitment to God and to myself, and to you many moons ago. Like, let love be my motivator, because for a long time it was pain. You know,
yeah, I remember when you.
Pain was a motivator. It was my motto. Like, let pain.
We talked about that one night, and you told me
pain
like,
was pain is what was the precursor. It was what it was a catalyst for change, and it's true. Yeah. But I'm old enough now to realize I don't necessarily have to go back to pain to change. And a comment was made to me a long time ago, early on in recovery, that maybe instead of pain, maybe you could let love be a motivator. Yeah. And I was like, huh. You know, and it's like, I have to participate in that, though. Love doesn't conquer all if the participant doesn't want. Look at the narcissist. It didn't conquer the narcissist. You have to participate in it. You have to do the possible.
So you're very dedicated to the things. Like, when you tell me, like, I'm going to do this or I'm going to try this, you do it. And I see you live, you know, a lot of times you say that, you know, oh, you're the real deal, like, you really do this. You do too. Like, you live this way every day. I see you making an effort and changing, and I've seen it. You know, I saw you over the winter when you were in a bad spot. What do you think got you from feeling down every day, like anxiety every day, to having a number of days, a number of good days in between, then maybe down? Like, I guess it's, all right, maybe, let me say it this way. Do you think that you have more good days than bad now? Oh,
my God. It's not, yeah, absolutely. If I had more bad days, as I said, I don't think I wouldn't be here. The reason why I do this channel with you is to let people know if I could do it, anybody can do it.
Well, I feel that way about me too.
Like, and that's the truth. Like, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yes, that's both of us. But see, isn't it interesting that we both have that attitude, but we have very, very different, like.
Well, yeah, I think the point is that it doesn't matter what kind of personality you have or your past, or if the change is slow or if it's immediate. Like, it'll materialize if you work for it. And I'm telling you guys, like, there's a hell of a lot more better days. I was triggered this week, didn't even know what was going to trigger me, and instead of taking months to get out of, took me a couple days.
Well,
That's
let
progress.
me ask you, Joe, what would you say to somebody who's maybe in the winter period? So they're not doing well. They're having consistently anxiety-filled days.
Here's what I could say. Like, you're not alone. That.
What could I have said to you?
You hold on no matter what. Like, you always have that option off yourself. But why not hang around just to see what the outcome is going to be? And most importantly, don't quit until a miracle happens.
I love that.
When I knew that I wasn't alone, there was a while that I thought, maybe am I the narcissist? I thought I was crazy. I thought I had anger management issues and all these things that she gaslit me on, even though I had custody of the kids and she was out using drugs or doing something else. When I found out I wasn't alone and people shared with me, then I knew, holy shit, okay, if I am crazy, I'm not alone. And that led me down to the path of the solution, which is a relationship with God. It led me down to, whoa, the narcissist isn't the only problem. I got a problem between my ears. My codependency, self-worth, low self-esteem, it led me to my childhood. Oh my God. My mother she was an alcoholic, but I didn't know she was a narcissist too. Holy crap, my ex-girlfriend's a narcissist too. Like, what the hell is going on with me?
Yeah.
And it led me back to God.
So do you think then, if you had to advise somebody, what would you say? Would you say, like, two questions I have for you. So do you think God ultimately is the answer? And what can other people say? Like, what if you're somebody like me that loves somebody who has anxiety? What can you say? What would you want to hear? What would you want me to say?
I would want you to say, even though you can't, I get it. I get it, man. I get it. But, you know, you don't, not the way that I do. You know what I mean? But I think it's just...
Yes and no.
You do it to a certain degree.
I do. I've had panic attacks.
So you do...
So I picture in a panic attack... Now, granted, we all know I have a low tolerance for emotional pain. When I have a panic attack, I feel like I'm going to die. It's just overwhelmed with panic, pure panic, like almost like, oh my gosh, like I'm in the ocean, a shark's coming at me, like I have to react right now, like it's panic, like I am in an emergency situation, oh no, and it'll last for, like, the last one I had was actually very shortly before you and I even first spoke, and I was this way for 2 or 3 days, and it was unbearable. It was so bad. I never said anything to my kids. My daughter burst into tears all of a sudden, and I hadn't said one thing to them. It was because she could, like, and I understand that because it happens to me with you. I can feel the pain on you. She must have known something was, like, almost like your animal, you know what I mean? Like your dog can sense, or your cat, that something's wrong. She burst into tears, and that's like with you too. So my whole point in telling you this is I can understand that. I know that pain.
Then I think
it's just not consistently, but I felt it, and I can imagine.
I think, like, you got to give that person some space. When they're ready, they'll come to you. And
well, what about someone like me though? Because if it was me, I would want you to get in my space.
No,
you know,
no,
I know you
me.
don't feel that way,
No.
but I'm saying, what about somebody else? Like, that could be the wrong thing to tell them.
Well, I don't know what to tell those people. I could only speak from my experience. Like, you asked me, what would I do? Like, for me, it's like, there's been times where when I was so much in pain and in desperation, because I tell you, CPTSD, there's been a lot of things, a lot of poor decisions, you guys, that I did in my life that caused my own CPTSD, so I'm no victim. But there's been a couple times when I called the suicide emergency hotline, and you know what? It helped. There was actually, this person didn't know me or anything like that, and just talked. And
the only problem, like, all right, so you're saying two things though, because you're saying,
well, calling that is like you're
saying keep away, like you want to be by yourself. But
yeah,
then
when I was in enough pain.
Oh, okay, so we are at a certain point.
Yeah,
like,
when I got to a certain point,
yeah.
I did call. But for me, it's like, give me space and let me come to you.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, I get it, man, and just kind of. But anybody out there, it's like knowing that I wasn't alone, that, like, this would pass, and like offing yourself was always an option. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem, but just knowing that, okay, that's like, let me see how all this plays out, man, and then just some days
to keep yourself alive.
Yeah, some days I was like, okay, just hang on until tonight, like sleep. When I eventually fell asleep, it was some kind of relief, but it was just hang on. It's like this tornado, this hurricane, and I'm hanging on like to a tree, and I'm bear hugging it. It was just, hang on, dude, just hang on. You know, it just, then you do a little bit of footwork. You start to crawl before you walk, and then you start to run. And we have many videos on how to do that. Self-searching, that shadow work and that inventorying, and building a relationship with the God of your understanding.
There is a solution, I guess.
Yeah,
is ultimately what this is. Like, you can feel better, and it's, I think, like, when I say it, maybe you would know better. There is a solution. If you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, you'll feel better. So if you know, all right, I need to read my Bible, or I need to go to a support group, or I need to do whatever it is. Like, if you know, like, it's kind of like a blessing. Like, you know, then you have to do it. Is that what kind of what you're saying? Like, if you know, do it. Like, just do it.
You could pray for potatoes all you want, but unless you pick up the hoe and you dig and plant the seeds, ain't no damn potatoes going to grow. We have a lot of videos, you guys, out there on the shadow work and what I did to find out, like, what the true problem was, forgiveness, acceptance. But if there's anybody out there struggling, please leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll definitely keep you, and no bullshit, like Sharon does this, we'll keep you in our prayers. We call it talking with Dad. That's the way that we do it. That's like our relationship with Dad. But I understand, and so does Sharon.
So guys, I guess I will end it here. Joe, thank you. Thank you for opening up like that. Like, I know it is a little, I'm sure, intimidating telling a bunch of people.
It is a little, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could touch somebody, just one other person, and if not, I'm sure like somehow the wires in my head to kind of maybe help myself too, who knows.
Yeah. Well, let us know. Let us know if you suffer from any CPTSD symptoms.
Or PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD. What? Let us know what you're dealing with so we can pray for you.
And some of the things that you guys do. Like some suggestions that you guys might have too. I mean, we're none of us are teachers. We're all students. There's only one teacher.
Yep, I
agree.
No
one's God.
100%. So I guess that's a perfect place to end it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Actually, today's a big day for me. I have a meeting with my ex. It's supposed to be the last mediation. I'm afraid to get my hopes up, but if things go well, I could have some really good news coming up.
Isn't that one of my sayings is keep your expectations low and you won't be let down.
Yeah, and I usually don't like that when you say that, but in this case, yeah. So I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know how it is. But Joe, thank you, and thank you, and I will see you on Wednesday, and Joe, we'll see you next week.
Yep, absolutely.